So today we're getting back on the 67 Big Block C10. We have an array of parts we're going to be putting on this thing, and they're all over on the table. And what I want to do in this video is try to get this thing running and driving on its own power. It's been a local truck to me, so it'll be really big to get this thing back on the road. It's probably not going to be ready for the road, but if we can get this thing starting to pull in and out of the shop and where we can move it around, that's going to be a huge win. Alright, one of the first things we need to do is get this master cylinder changed out. I've got one over there, not sure if it's going to work, but I'm pretty positive this one is not going to work. So we need to try to get these old lines off, which can pose to be a challenge. So I'm going to throw the old line wrench on her. If we need to throw some heat on it, we will. Yeah, it looks like the whole line's trying to turn, so get a little heat on it. May not have no luck with this one, might just have to make a new line. That line is pretty much just stuck up in there right now. So we're probably going to have to make 2 new lines. I think we were going to have to make this line anyway, so. Of course, as soon as I say that, it breaks free, so. I guess I just need to talk about it more. There we go. I will say, if you don't have line wrenches, they're a lifesaver. You can get them at Harbor Freight for relatively cheap, and it saves on doing this kind of stuff. It doesn't round out all the fittings as much, it doesn't seem like. Alright, now we just need to take the 2 off at the firewall. I've got our new master cylinder. I've got it filled up here because I've been messing with it over there, just doing some bench bleeding on it, so hopefully this thing will end up working for us. Oh, I'm already seeing that the shaft is longer. The other one was, I think, had a hole here where this one does not. So let me look at that real quick. Alright, so I got roughly marked on this push rod how far up in there that was sticking, so right about in there. So I'm just going to mark this thing, we're going to whack it off. I see you over there giggling. We're going to cut that thing off, and hopefully we can get this new one working, because other than that I think it's going to work out pretty good. Try this one more time here now that we got this all situated. See if we can't get these lines hooked back up now. Looks like I might have to do a little bending and twisting. Now, even with getting this master cylinder on, that doesn't mean that the wheel cylinders and everything like that and the soft lines are not going to be completely junk, so that might be something we have to address in the future. This thing is set for 30 years, so I'm sure most of that stuff is pretty much seized up or closed off as far as those rubber lines go. They don't like any kind of sitting around, it doesn't seem like. Alright, let me get you up in here real quick. I adjusted on our brake pedal here. Oh. So right up here, as you can see, it goes right into the back of that. We got full pedal, I believe. No risk of that thing falling out. So I'm gonna pump on this thing, check for some leaks and everything like that. We'll see what we got. Well, not very successful. I went underneath the truck and started doing a little bit of brake bleeding, trying to. Got 3 of the 4 bleeders broke free. One of them really broke free, so we'll have to address that on a later day. But I'm going to plan to run to the parts store sometime tomorrow. I need to find some U-joint clips for the rear end here, so the one on the truck currently doesn't have any, so I know it's probably gonna be a long shot, but I'm gonna try to go by an auto parts store and see if they got one of those. If not, we're probably gonna be stuck ordering one, and not really gonna be good for video. But that's tomorrow's problem, so I'll see you guys. Well, it's tomorrow. As I said leaving off yesterday, we didn't have anything going to any of our wheel cylinders. I didn't make it to the parts store, but I did find some rubber lines over in the toolbox from when we were messing with the Apache, so I'm going to try to replace at least the rear. So if now we can maybe get the rears going, at least we'd have something, a little bit of stopping power. And then after that, I want to try to get on that shifter. I did toss a drive shaft in this thing. Didn't cover it because it's a little on the sketchy side, and I wouldn't really recommend doing it. I was talking about those U-joint clips and I couldn't find any, so I did the next best thing and just got some U-bolts from the hardware store. So you can see that there, we got some U-voltage going on. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend doing that, but like I said, I'm just trying to get this thing where I can pull it in and out of the shop, and we'll order some of the right parts, and when they come in we'll toss them on there. But for now that's gonna work. So slide underneath this thing real quick. Let's see if we can't get one of them rubber lines to match up, and then see if we can't pump a little fluid back there. Alright, so just like the front, we're going to be hitting this with a little heat, and hopefully we can get these things undone back here. And my daggone headlamp died as soon as I started. Let me get us a light. Alright, round 2. You can probably see better this way anyway. Am I the only one that thinks PB Blaster really stinks? I don't know. Not a fan. And if you suspect that there is fluid in the line, you got to be a little bit careful. You can see a little bit of that squirting out as we just heated this line up. Just be mindful of that, don't get burnt. And you might want to wear gloves, yada yada, all that stuff. But I'm not your mom, so you do what you want. Well, it looks like we're getting fluid back here, so maybe this rubber line is not bad back here. We'll go give those brakes a pump. You guys watch and tell me if there's anything squirting out. I reviewed the footage. I didn't see anything leaking, so we're gonna go for the rubber hose. This might be a vice grip kind of line here. Well, we got it broke free, but I think the line is turning inside. Let's give her a little bit more heat here. Well, just as I was hoping we wouldn't do, we just broke that line, so that's kind of stinky. We're gonna have to make us a new line. Well, we got good flow coming from that. Must have been that rubber line, I guess. So it looks like this is going to be the next size up from 3/16, which I guess will be 1/4. I don't think I have any fittings that big right now. Alright, I've got our old line here pulled off. And like I was saying, it's 1/4, I'm pretty positive. And then I've got this new 3/16 line all laid out here beside it. And it's probably a good thing we did pull this out, because every time there was like a little bitty clamp, that went to the frame. This thing broke anytime I put any kind of pressure on it, so it's just old rusty stuff, and that's a good thing to do with these old trucks anyways, to replace. So I had enough 3/16 laying here, so I'm gonna go over here to our Eastwood little tubing thing here, and I'm gonna start putting some flares on this thing. Make sure we throw that thing on there first. We still got another flare to go, so we could put it back on there, but I'm just gonna go ahead and throw her on there. But this is a Eastwood flaring tool, and it's pretty dang sweet. One weird thing, it is getting colder here in southern Indiana, so the other day I used this on something. I can't remember what I was doing out here. I made a line for something, but I went to put these dies down in here, and this was really cold, and it like barely wouldn't go down in here. I had to use a little dead blow to get the dies down in here. So today I got the little butane heater out here and put these in there, and they work just like they always have in the past. So I don't know if that thing just got so cold it shrank a little bit, but put a little heat on it with that, and it slides right down in here. Now this tubing, that is another story, because it doesn't come straight, so a little bit hard to get these on. It just doesn't want to sit in these dies very good, so just taking that rubber mallet there, going back and forth. And even after doing that, it still doesn't want to sit in there just perfect. Shove her down there until she's about bottomed out. And then there's a little flat one here you can use to kind of push back, square all that up. Then you can slap your hold down over and tighten everything down. Then it's OP 1 3/16 shabam. Then OP 2 3/16. Yeah, I've never had any issues with this thing at all until this week, and I don't know, like I was saying, if that's just because of the cold weather or what, but it's still not too bad. But as you can see, that thing leaves some pretty sweet flares, so slide this up underneath there. We'll get it on the truck. Maybe we'll have some rear brakes here before long. Alrighty. Let's see if we can't get this thing together now. We got the front connected, so all we need now is the back here. I need to put a Benderooski in this. I might have just a little bit too much. I am done with brakes after this line. I don't care if the rest of them all week, we just won't have brakes in this episode. Alright, now we just need to get our T-fitting loose here and throw everything back together. Oh, yes. Gotta love it. You just gotta love it. I so wish sometimes, like, instead of an automotive YouTube channel, I would have done like meat smoking or something. Something that doesn't require me to be underneath the daggone truck at whatever o'clock at night right now. Seeing that? That don't work. I think I got one over there that will though. I'll be right back. Oh yeah, that's gonna work beautiful. All right, shoot, shoot, shoot. That should be it. We'll go up here. See if we can't get a little fluid back here with these wheel cylinders. Nothing yet. We're getting a little seepage going on back here. Alright, see if we can't get some kind of a paddle established after closing them bleeders off. It's pumping up. I think a good couple of bleeds. I think we're gonna at least have rear brakes. Like I was saying, the front brakes, I don't have lines for them right now, so that's probably something we're gonna have to address in a later date. And maybe even try to do like a disc brake conversion up there, because the brakes sound pretty crunchy when that wheel's rolling, so I don't even know how good they're gonna be. But maybe get the wife talked into coming out here tomorrow, or somebody help me do a little bleeding on this thing. Layla said she would, but she don't have thumbs, so you know how that goes. Then we gotta get the shifter in, and hopefully we can take it for a drive. What do you think? Alright then. One of our last things we need to do is install this B&M light truck mega shifter. It is the ultimate in control for your automatic transmission equipped truck. It says it right there. So this came with our 67. It's definitely an older shifter, so let's see if we can't figure this thing out. I looked these things up online. They're pretty cool, really. Icing on top of the cake right there. Oh man, can't beat that with a stick. Got a sticker. Oh. Yep. Alrighty, so that's gonna be our console bucket thingy there. Alright, got kind of all of our parts here kind of laid out and organized. Got a lot of hardware here, and that's kind of scary, but overall this thing's in pretty good shape. A lot of this is just kind of your mounting things. It's for a bunch of different transmissions. A lot of that stuff's for Ford and Chrysler over here. What we're going to be using is this plate right here and this bracket here. So that's going to be all of our Turbo 4 Hundo stuff according to our blueprint over here. So first thing I'm going to do, start sticking this mount together. What we did was just kind of went ahead and assembled on this thing, and it's all ready to rip. We need to get it in the truck, but first we need to get the old one out. Who would have ever guessed these would have been 10mm self-tappers? Get the old Pontiac shifter out of here, but we won't throw it away. Get the remaining pieces of carpet out of the truck. Out with the old, in with the new. Gotta see where the heck this thing is gonna pull the best at. Well, we got her all bolted down, but unfortunately, that's just going to be a trial run for right now, because you go to set that on there, it's not going to work. So what we're going to have to do is move the shifter back enough to where this will sit down, because right now it's hitting our transmission hump, and it's got a little set screw in here that screws down to this, and it's not going to hit, unfortunately, the way it's at. So we get to drill 4 new holes, move this thing back about 2 to 3 inches, and then we snip her back down. Then we can proceed as we were. Alright, finally got this thing mounted. Everything's going to work out okay on it now. I could probably cope this edge, and that would probably be a good thing, and we may do that later. I am going to mark the edge of this thing because the next step, we got to drill a hole here for our cable. And our cable is going to shoot down somewhere here. We're going to loop it around under the tail shaft. Just going to kind of eyeball this thing. I think somewhere in this vicinity. Our final hole is going to be just a little bit over 1/2 inch, and then that's where that's going to kind of go through and around. I'll put that little grommet right about there, and then that's where our cable will land and run through. Oh, I did find out how to ratchet this thing. So we're in park right now, or reverse, neutral, then that would be drive. So that's when the ratchet starts on this thing. So to downshift, you just simply hit that thing, that would be first, and say you're gonna be driving, so you'd be like, yep. So that's pretty cool, really. And we're hung in gear already. There we go. Back to what I was doing. It just comes with a little supplied cotter pin here. Slips in the back side. Let me know down in the comments if you guys are familiar with the V&M Mega Shifter. I've seen them, I guess, in Jegs catalogs and stuff like that, but I've never owned one or had the notion to. Alright, I guess we'll go up top and see how we got this thing adjusted. They said if you do not get it adjusted right, you will wreck your transmission. Only time will tell. See what we got. Well, I think we could definitely do a little bit more adjusting tonight. I'm going to go ahead and hook up our indicator, which is just hooks right here, and then a little bitty E-clip on this side. Then we can put everything down and we'll be looking pretty good. Oh yeah. Can't beat shiny new parts in a rusty old truck. Welcome to Metal Massacre's Smoked Meats. Y'all thought I was kidding. No, doing a little meat for the Thanksgiving here, so taking a night off on the shop. We'll get back out there tomorrow, but that'll be Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving. This video is going to come out after that, but hopefully you had a great one. Hopefully you got some good Black Friday deals too.
Oh my God.
Alright, so it's been a couple days. I haven't been out here, but me and William, we actually worked on his Toyota, my old Toyota Hilux, if you're familiar with that truck from the channel. We got a lot of things worked out on that, but we're back on the truck now. Got us a throttle pedal. It's kind of like a sprint car style, I guess you would say, but it's gonna be there. We would start bleeding the brakes, and just about every line was bad on this thing. So we got 3 out of the 4 working that I know for sure. So that should be sufficient enough. It might pull a little bit, but try to rip this thing real quick. I don't know how crazy we're gonna be able to get with the current configuration, but we're gonna drive it around nonetheless. So let's get after it. We might have to check the transmission fluid too.
You want me to get in after you get out and shut the door down?
That'll be fine, if we can get out. But we don't even know if this thing's gonna drive yet. We'll hook that fuel pump up real quick.
Yep.
Disconnect that fuel pump real quick. Fuel pump? Yeah, which we probably don't need it right now, but. She wasn't rich, or
Lord! You want the fuel pump off or on?
on. Yeah. She wanted her there for a second.
So you're at 12.4 right now.
What the devil? Might not have had a good enough connection. That positive was kind of loose.
Was it?
Alright, so William found out that we've got a broken rotor here, so he slapped a new one on here, so if anything's wrong we can blame it on him, but I think everything should be good now. We're going to try to crank this thing over and let her eat. She's back.
Leave it off.
definitely needs some tuning.
Yeah.
But it's running. It drove out of the shop on its own. It needs a starter too.
Yeah, can't beat that.
Alrighty, so kind of an anticlimactic ending, but we did get the truck out and it did drive. So it went into gear after we added a little bit more transmission fluid, and I think it's doing pretty well. Going forward from here, we got some suspension upgrades that need to happen. A lot of that front suspension is very haggard, and also the front brakes, but the brakes worked great out there, so can't complain about that. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and if you've been here this far, go ahead and drop that subscribe down below and also a like, and I'll see you guys on the next one.